So just before we hop into this video, just want to let you guys know that this is assuming that you guys know the basics of scripting. All the videos should be up on my channel, and if they're not, you can always check out the documentation or look at someone else's video, but I will not be describing things in detail as I would in separate videos describing different topics. This is kind of like an accumulation of everything that I've explained, and some of it might be new. However, those things I will try to explain to the best of my ability. And of course, if you have any questions, comment down below. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. It definitely helps out. Anyway, back to the video. So today we're going to be dealing with the setup of a obby. So the setup is actually the most important part of any game. If you lay the best foundations you can for a game, your later development will actually be a lot easier on you. And especially when your game starts getting very complex scripts, like 1,000+ lines, and there's a couple scripts like that, and you're using modules, and it gets all weird and complicated, you're gonna really wish your foundations were very solid. So let's lay down some foundations. So first, with an obby, I like to put all my kill parts in a single folder, and that's what I'm going to do here in the workspace. I'm going to make a folder, and I'm going to label it kill parts. And this is just for organization, and actually it makes it a lot easier to organize it in code and make it a lot more optimized, because any parts you put in here, you can run it through a for loop and run it through a touched event for all the parts, and just run it off of one script instead of having one script for each part. So that's the main reason I'm making the folder. So the next thing we need is we need some way to keep track of stages, right? So when players get past a certain point, they're going to touch a pad, it's going to increase their stage. So the way we're going to do that is in server script service, we're going to create a script, and we're going to name this player handler. And what this script's going to do is going to handle any player stats or really anything. And actually, we might handle data store in here, but I might put that in a separate script just so it's not confusing for anyone watching. So to create a leader stat, first we need to detect when a player joins the game with the player added event. And we're going to then create a folder inside of the player. And then we also want to create stages. So just like it says right here, we're going to create an instance.new int value. So now when we join the game, you're going to see here, it shows stages, and it says 0. Now let's actually create a few parts, physical parts for our obby, so take your time to do that. I'm going to make mine here real quick, and that's going to include like pads, spheres. You can include mesh parts. Just add whatever you feel like, or you can follow along with me. So yeah, I'll be back. All right, now that I have all my parts set up, they're pretty basic. Got some walls that they need to jump around. Got some of your lines that you need to jump in between. Got your pads. Got some spheres for them to jump on. And of course, I have anything labeled red for kill parts. And of course, our stage pads. So we want to test the functionality of each. So let's go ahead and make these kill parts actually kill players. So what I'm going to do here is move these into the kill parts, and we're going to make a separate script, and we're going to just make this for all kill parts. So we're going to say in pairs game.workspace.kill parts, and we're going to get all the children within, which would be any of these parts or anything else we put in here. So now how do we go about doing this for every single part in here without making each script per part, right? Or mentioning each part. So with this for loop, v is going to be equal to every single one of those parts. And if you don't know what a for loop is, I recommend you look up a video on it, whether it's mine or somebody else's. And of course, it always returns the hit. If hit parent, we want to make sure it's a player that we're hitting first. So make sure to have a humanoid. And actually, we're going to create a debounce. Okay, so what this is basically going to be doing is it's going to make sure it's a person. It's going to make sure the cooldown is not active, and if it is, activate the cooldown. Find the person's humanoid again, get the health, subtract it by 100. And we're going to wait a second, and then disable the cooldown. That way the hit function does not fire a gajillion times. Now let's go test this out. Alright, so if I touch any of these red parts, awesome. Alright, testing for the sphere. And last but not least, testing these guys. Alright, so now that we've tested and made sure all of our kill parts work, now we need to create one other thing script-wise, and that is going to be the data store. Because when people leave and join, we want to make sure that they are able to retain their stages so they don't have to start all over again unless that's what you want them to do. But in my case, I don't want them to restart every single time they rejoin. So let's go ahead and make that data store. And then the first thing you want to do before you make a data store is you got to make sure you have a little variable set for it. So game get service, data store service, local obby store will be ds. We're going to use get data store and just give it a name. I'm going to call it obby store. Doesn't matter what you name it, just remember the name if you're going to use it across multiple places within the same experience. All right, so we're going to have to first have a players added event, a players removing event. All right, and that should conclude the setup portion of our obby. So we set up a script that'll handle the leader stats. We set up a script that handles the kill parts, and we set up a script that is not entirely complete yet for the data store, which is going to be the next part. We're going to set up this part, and then there's going to be third and final part, which is actually going to be building the obby and making it a little fun, and maybe adding a few little, fun twists in there to make it a little special. And yeah,